Alright, today we're learning the chopping hook serve with side top spin. We'll start with the short serve. The short serve is generally easier for players to execute, and the ball travels slower. First, let me explain the mechanics of the chopping hook serve. Using your elbow as a pivot, when your forearm chops downward, you create side underspin. Let's have Shuai demonstrate a receive. See how my forearm is level? After pulling back, if the forearm moves downward with the ball, it's side underspin. If the forearm carries the ball upward, it becomes side top spin. That's the basic principle. If you master 3 key points today, you'll definitely be able to perform this serve well. We're going to teach you our secret techniques from in-person coaching, which we've never shared before. Shortly, I'll also explain the difference between the penhold and shakehand chopping hook serve. There are 3 points, and you must execute all 3 simultaneously to serve effectively. Let's start with the first secret, the wrist hook. This is a point most amateurs overlook. Watch my wrist. Now, look at this wrist position. Is this hook correct? Some say yes, some say no. This confusion is why you can't serve well. You must have a genuine hook in your wrist. Penhold wrist hook. Your wrist must hook the racket, don't just push against it. Think of it like ballroom dancing, the hand is always curved around the shoulder. There should be a curve in your wrist. My first demonstration was actually pushing with the wrist. That's a fake hook. Look closely. Can you see it's a fake hook? When my hand moves forward, it might look like a hook. But it's not a true hook, it's a fake one. When the racket is right in front of you, the angle looks like a hook, but it isn't. Students say, "Coach, I did hook it." But I ask, "Are you sure? Is this a hook?" You have to rotate it here to make it a real hook. Your wrist must be like this. For both penhold and shakehand, start with your palm facing yourself. For the chopping hook serve, the fingertips point up and the palm faces oneself. For the scrapping hook serve, the fingertips point to the side and the palm also faces oneself. This is the case for both penhold and shakehand grips. Put your phone down and do this with me to get the feel for it. This is the position at ball contact. Now, let's do the backswing. The principle is the same, your palm faces your body. Have your palm facing your upper arm. Towards your stomach. Then directly towards your face. Always maintain this feeling. The swing path is, start towards your hip, move up towards your upper arm, then to your stomach, and finish towards your face. Chopping hook serve and scrapping hook serve are basically the same. You absolutely must get this first point right. Your palm faces inward, towards your hip or upper arm, then towards your stomach, and finally towards your face. It's the same with a racket. You make contact with the ball as your racket passes your stomach, and you stop the motion as it reaches your face. Now for penhold. The principle is the same, but the wrist requirement is higher than for shakehand. Using a phone as an example, during the backswing, you must inwardly hook and rotate your wrist so the top of the phone faces you. That's the penhold feeling. This will feel more awkward than the shakehand grip. With the racket, the feeling is the same. The path is still hip, stomach, and face. The penhold chopping hook serve is different from shakehand because the racket head is tilted. I feel the penhold hook serve is a mix of a chopping hook serve and a scrapping hook serve, because you can't get the racket face perfectly vertical like with a shakehand grip. So, you can combine your chopping hook serve and scrapping hook serve motions to create a right-sided spin. The first key point is to hold the racket correctly. Get this right, and everything else will be much easier. Second point, for side top spin, focus on the moment of contact. Contact the ball with the lower half of your racket. A serve like this will pop up if your opponent tries to push it. Watch again. Find the right contact point on the lower half of the racket. If you add this extra wrist snap at contact, the ball will be even more kicky. You must use the lower half of the racket to brush the side of the ball. Your opponent can't push this serve, it will definitely pop up. I'll teach you how to make it more deceptive in part 2 of this series. First, master these 3 steps. Then, we'll add 2 more for deception in a 3+2 model. Remember 2 things: use the lower half of the racket and brush the side of the ball. For a chopping hook serve, you must always brush the side. Never, ever scoop under the ball. Focus on this contact area on the lower half of the racket. See? The contact is right there. You could use the upper half. Watch as I serve with the upper half and see if you can read it. If, for example, the top half is for topspin and the bottom for underspin, an opponent can read that instantly. It's too obvious. Also, there's another problem with using the top half. If you brush upward from there, the ball goes very high. Therefore, for both side topspin and side underspin, the contact point must be the same to confuse the opponent. When you practice, start with the more difficult, deceptive technique, and you'll integrate it much faster. Always use the lower half of the racket to brush and lift the ball. Using the lower half for both serves makes the spin much harder to read. Look, this is side underspin, and this is side topspin. Let's have Shuai try to push it. See? Here's underspin, here's topspin. You must use the same contact point. A short serve is already easier for the opponent to read. So deception is key. For a short serve, you can't use too much power. It's slower, and you're gripping the ball, not hitting through it. If your contact point changes, the deception is lost. Use the lower half. This applies to penhold as well. That's the second point, always brush the side of the ball. Now, look what happens if you scoop underneath. Many amateurs serve this way. The ball goes high and has very little spin because you're scooping too much. Do not scoop under the ball. Watch me. When you scoop, you create this high trajectory. The ball will always fly high. Before you even generate spin, the trajectory is already too high. The trajectory should be like this. Look, underspin, and topspin. Watch the underspin. See how I'm brushing the side of the ball? Look closely again, underspin, topspin, underspin, topspin. The ball's trajectory stays low. First, master the wrist hook through the entire motion, backswing, contact, and finish. Second, use the lower half of the racket to brush the side of the ball, not the bottom. The third and most critical point is that the side topspin motion is not a forward push. So, what kind of feeling is it? Try to feel it. What is this side topspin brushing motion like? To practice, try this. Don't toss the ball at first. Let the ball rest on your racket. Make sure your wrist is hooked. Then find the feeling of lifting the ball upward. Lift it. That's the feeling. Don't worry if it goes over the net. Just find this swing path first. Most players have a swing path that goes too far forward. You need to practice this upward motion first. Even though this drill looks a little silly, it's extremely effective. Get that upward feeling. Everyone, try this tomorrow. Don't leave any space between the ball and racket. Rest it there. Don't toss the ball for this drill, it's harder to find the feeling. Get the feeling of carrying the ball upward. Otherwise, your motion will always be forward. Do this drill a few dozen times, and then you can start serving with a toss. Don't toss too high. As you toss, feel the racket contacting the ball on its upper section. Contact should be near the racket head, then brush upward. Brush upward, and lift. See how kicky that serve is? Now your topspin brushing is fully engaged, not just a light graze. Just like that, you've learned it. You must try this. I promise it's very effective. Don't toss the ball super high. You'll never get the right brushing feel that way because your contact won't be precise. Start without a toss, or with the ball very close to your hand, to find the feeling. Then, gradually start tossing the ball a little higher. Now let's talk about the swing path. First step, adopt a side-on stance. Second, what should the brushing feel like? You need to stop your motion the instant you contact the ball. This will make your contact more compact. Don't try to have a long brushing motion, you can't control it at first. Stop. Practice just like this. A sudden stop. Don't try to exaggerate your brushing motion at the beginning. It's hard to find the feeling. Just start with your backswing. Find the ball. And stop. Get this down, contact the ball, racket head points up, and stop the motion. This makes the contact so much more focused. If you don't do this, your force will be scattered. When you stop, make sure to tense your hand and use some force. No, it's not a forward stop. It still needs that upward lifting feeling we just practiced. The stop is upward. See? An upward stop. This ball is already extremely kicky. A common mistake is wanting a long, follow-through brushing motion, which scatters the force and results in low spin. So, follow my 3 steps. First, maintain a deep wrist hook. Second, use the lower half of the racket to brush the side of the ball. Third, find the feeling of lifting the ball upward. Then, practice a compact motion, backswing, contact, and stop to focus your power. If you practice these 3 steps, I believe you'll master the short side topspin serve very quickly. Once you have the short serve, the long serve will be easy.